I'm Jennifer Riccinelli. I'm editorial director of Stone World and Stone and Tile Insider. And today I am talking with Colleen Bute Bennett of CBB Design Firm in Morganton, North Carolina. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, I was excited to talk with you. Why don't you tell us a little about yourself and your firm?
Sure. So CBB Design Firm is actually our American branch. We have firms in Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Ecuador, and Colombia that we started 20 years ago under the name of Catechus Folium. And then we have Morgan Stewart Logistics is our kind of holding company that allows us to purchase and do everything within all of these countries, as well as in the Caribbean and around the world.
Wow, you are really spread out. You must be busy.
Yes, and transporting stone and things around the world is not the easiest either, but we learn and we figure that out. So it's been an interesting 20 years in the industry of doing that.
I'm sure. What do you say? You learn by experience, right?
Yeah. So just a little background on us. Have been and worked in furniture, worked for some big brands like Ralph Lauren Home, did all of their account management and visual merchandising in Latin America, Australia, and Africa. And then also with my design firms. And then we've basically worked with some of like the rich and most wanted in these countries as well. So it's kind of, we've done some major homes of like 11,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet,
Wow.
where we've had to select all of the finishes from top to bottom. We brought in stone from France. We brought in things from Mexico. So when you came to the United States, it was so much easier because everything was at your hand. Whereas down there, it was like, how are we going to get this quarry, get this Coralina from Merida and get it trucked here and not get stolen? Those are things that we've had to do. Or we've had to source things for when I was working at Ralph of just like, you have to have this specific stone top. And now we're going to get it to this store in Paraguay, which is on the border of Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay. And we have to make sure it gets there and who pays what customs duties. It's just, those type of things. So
Right. Logistics.
we've kind of done it all, if that makes sense.
Yeah, wow, that's great. So when you started off like that, and like you said, how did you start like sourcing your stone, where to look?
So actually it was, so I went into business with my husband and we were working with a firm that was kind of guided us on, hey, we think there's some great stuff up in Mexico. So we would fly up and go meet. And that's where we just kind of started, going to quarries. And so, went from there. We've been around the world looking at different things, with different projects, but it was really getting to know the owners and the quality. And then you'll mess up and you'll be like, oh, that broke. So maybe we need to figure something else out. But it was kind of trial and error, and word of mouth. But there's some incredible quarries in Honduras. There's incredible things in Brazil. Like there's just so many different things in Latin America that people just don't know about, that there's a lot coming out of. Where we were able to just go see it firsthand. So now when I look at it, I can actually say, oh, I know where that comes from. And I know my friend who mines that, it's kind of cool.
I think that's great. And you're so knowledgeable now, and like you said, you learn from experience, but I'm surprised there are so many specifiers out there still that I talk to, and I've never been to a quarry or don't know much about stone out there. So I think that's great that you are such a proponent.
It's super important to know what materials you're working with. I mean, if you're working with quartz, is it, man-made? Does it have resin constitution in it? Are you working with Dectin? Are you doing quartzite, or are you working with marbles? You have to play that game. And it's also who's using it. The surface is so important as to who is the end person at the end of the day. Because I mean, if you sold someone who has kids and it's quartz and they don't watch their stains really quickly, like if what they leave out there are super high heat, you're going to have problems, like to always tell people, like, you got to be very careful with what you're using.
Absolutely. So I was going to say, do you spend a lot of time educating your customers, your clients on
Yes, we
material?
We have an incredible kitchen and baths. Steffi Osborne, she's amazing. But yes, when we were working with our client, our first question is who's in your home? Like, how do you cook? Like, do you literally take your hot pan and put it on your counter? Because there are people that do that. And I was like,
Yeah.
if I do that, then there's no way we're doing quartz. That's not happening. I mean, even stone will, could break, but we've got to be it's very like, okay, do you drink a lot of wine, or do you, is this going to be, would you sometimes second homes? Are you going to be putting this on an Airbnb? If you're going to be putting this on an Airbnb, these are things that we would be working with. So it's always like, in what application are we using it?
Right.
And
It's
budget.
like,
Yeah,
yes, budget, of course, too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that budget comes into play as well.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Do you mostly do residential, or do you do any
We
commercial?
do both contract and residential. So we've done restaurants throughout our career. We've done hotels, major hotels. And we've done, again, residential is just, and second homes. That's pretty much everything, I guess you could
Right.
say. And that's from flooring to pretty much every single surface you
I
can
know,
do.
I heard you even hang the drapes sometimes. And
Yes, sadly. Almost got divorced over that. That's the last thing I ever want to do is hang someone's curtains.
Right. It's like, I don't want to hang my own curtains, right?
No.
That's really great. So how did you make the transition then? Because you were abroad first with all your firms. How did you make your transition then to come to the States?
So it really was my daughter. My first daughter was born in Costa Rica, and it just became apparent that, after so many years, we really just wanted to be back in the States. So we asked the companies that we were working with, if you don't mind, we're going to move back to Morganton. We're going to raise our family here, but we'll still travel, we'll still do all of that. So I was here, I would take, the occasional client if I wanted to, but really I was still working in corporate. It wasn't until pandemic happened where it just made a hard shift, as I'm not going to get on a plane during COVID.
Right.
I probably would get stuck in these countries if I went there. And I have a daughter with epilepsy, and I just did not feel comfortable, with everything going on, traveling. So I decided to open my firm here in the United States, really take it on literally the day the world shut down. It was like, okay,
hey, got a new project to work on.
Let's take a massive pay cut and start this thing. So we started with about 6 clients, and then we ended up with 150.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been insanity. And then what ended up happening is, because we're in Morganton, we're between Asheville and Hickory and Charlotte, there's really no place to go source materials, find cabinets, all of that stuff. So I was running around like a chicken with no head, trying to get clients. And I mean, we would drive everywhere. It would take so much time. So I just decided to bring it all myself. And so I have a warehouse and turned it into a huge showroom. So I've got
wow.
all different 7 lines of kitchens. I've got Cambria, Cosentino, Walker Zanger, Dow Tile. What's the other one?
That's amazing. You did a lot in 4 years.
I know. So what's great is then we got flooring and all this other stuff that we were able to then, show them, hey, here's your materials, or here's Taj Mahal. Here's a bit of Taj Mahal out here, but just understand that this does not represent, and we're going to need to go pick the slab. You will not have this specific slab. And it really allowed their clients we could do an entire home in 4 hours. It was great.
That's
So
amazing.
stress out of it. And then we put it into 3D. So our clients were able to see the entire home in 3D with all their finishes. So that also took the stress level, because they're looking at it here and like, okay, I actually like that, which was great.
Yeah, that could help. I think especially customers who don't really know the materials, it gives them, if they could actually see it and then visualize it on the computer, that's great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We would go pick slabs and then take that exact slab, because we could do that in 3D and actually it and show where we want the vein match, which was huge, because you can have a slab which has a huge blob in it, and then if you don't tell your fabricator to cut around this, you're gonna have a huge blob in your kitchen, and then
exactly,
it's gonna be very upset with you.
Well, they're lucky to have a good designer like you that would point this out.
Well, it's like wood, you know what I mean? I'm like, if you're working with a natural materials, it's kind of like you never know what you're going to get unless you go actually look at it. So I mean,
Ab-
you can always see it online, but you really need to go physically see.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any fabricators in the area that you work with more often or not? Or
Yes, we do. We work with CES out of Mooresville. We were working with Slab Tech out of Shelby, and we're working with a potential new fabricator for Decton.
okay,
So yeah, we use a lot of Decton. Decton's been like the new product that everybody's been talking about, and we actually got ahead of the curve before it all became, blew up. So we were starting to use that on wall applications, showers, all of that. The product is beautiful, and I love how it just turns out, and clients are just thrilled when it comes in.
that's great. I know it was a learning curve when that first came out, just
Yes,
like anything,
it was a
and it
huge
was
learning
core,
curve.
and now it's porcelain slabs. But yeah, I've been hearing more and more about the use of Decton.
Yeah,
So,
we're wrapping it in chimneys. I
oh
mean,
wow,
yeah, so we've done full chimneys. We did like a 15-inch height backsplash around a kitchen, which was insane. And it looked,
wow.
yeah, very, very cool.
So it's great to hear all these innovative ways and all these new materials that are out. So that's great. How do you get educated on the materials from the manufacturers or?
From the manufacturers, and we do enough business. They'll take us to like the factories and do all
Mhm.
that stuff. But yeah, we make sure before we even use a product that we understand it 150%. If we don't understand it, then I can't sell it to my to my client, excuse me.
Right.
And it's just the more we learn, it's better. So whenever they're like, "Do you want to come to a university?" I'm like, "We're going. Please come. Teach us like we don't know anything. Teach us how to do this application. How would you apply it? Because your rep is your best source of material, and knows everything. Like, hey, what's your top seller? Why would you not use this? Like, we didn't realize we were specifying a lot of Taj Mahal, for example, and there have been having a lot of big quarries have been having issues because of its breaking. They've mined it so much. So, we were seeing situations where our slabs would come and just crack. And you're like, okay.
Ooh.
Oh, now that we've selected that one and we've made the whole beautiful vein, what do we do now?
Now what?
Like, now what? And it's like, well, we're going to have to go back. And then you're sitting there, you've already templated, you've got 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks to figure out world peace, is what I tell people.
Right.
But like, if we knew that ahead of time, so we've now, said, okay, these are certain mines that we can get it from, but it's going to cost more than what we were getting it at originally.
Right.
So those
So
are all the things, in the industry that you learn.
yeah.
So
Well, I
yeah.
say your clients are very fortunate to have someone so reach, not everybody is like that. And I think that's so fantastic. It's great. You being in the South, well, because even up I'm in New Jersey, but are outdoor living spaces become bigger lately? Or are people?
Oh, massive. I mean, we just installed with a dowel tile, the new paver system that they came out with.
Mhm. Oh, yes.
We did a 7,000 square foot deck out of that.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was awesome. But then you got to make sure the die lots fit. And then we did a floating, which was really cool. So, you're not using grout. It's just kind of like sitting there. It was absolutely exquisite. And Decton's got the full slabs now that they're saying are grip resistant. So that's happening. We've in the Caribbean, we really like to use more of the natural, like the coralinas and that type of
Mhm.
stuff. So again, going back to the old mine in Merida, I'm going, oh, hey, we're back after like 15 years. And I speak fluent Spanish, and he's like, la gringa ya regresó. And I'm like, hey, what's up?
That's fun.
So yeah, you're seeing we're using a lot of materials for outdoors. We're actually creating with decked in outdoor tops. You're seeing that a lot in furniture these days for outdoor. They're incorporating like brands like Lane Venture. I know Bernhardt has created decked in with pieces. So you're seeing those same works going outside. And then actually, we've been trying to be working with more of those like very textured or leathered granites for outside, just to kind of give that beautiful feel for the outdoor kitchens. Lots of
Right.
outdoor kitchens. Some people try to do cement, but I'm like, watch, your stuff will break in 5 seconds. So
Yeah.
go for it.
Cracking.
But I'm gonna step away when I say I told you so.
Right. It's like you don't want to listen, then
Yeah,
it's on
natural
you.
materials all the way, right?
Yep, absolutely. So you are very knowledgeable, and it seems like you're up on all the new products that are out. So how do you keep abreast of what's new? Do you go to trade shows, or
Go
is
to
your
trade shows.
suppliers?
We like to go to trade shows. We missed KBIS this last time, which really stunk, but we just like to go down. We go see the showrooms. We
Right.
I always like to go see what the new products are out. You're always like, oh, something new. Now you're making shower pans out of this, or integrated, sinks with this product and material, which is great. I mean, we'll go check and see our some other high-end showrooms. I love going to see what other people are doing, because it's like, oh, like we just saw where it's got like the pop-out tile with the stone surround. It's like, oh, that's where you're putting the niche. Okay, how do you deal with water on that? And they're like, yeah, we're working on that. So
Right.
hold off on this capability right now. But these are like the cool things that we'll see, that we try to bring with us. And it's fun. And then obviously when we put it into the 3D, that's our big, it's like, how do we make it match? Like, where do we
Right.
start the tile? Where do you want the tile to, if we're doing, brick lay, or if we're doing straight stack, we need to make sure that 12 by 24 or the new 24 by 48, it's like, we can't really put that in a 9-foot shower. You're going to have a cutoff on the top. What does that look like? So those are things to think of when we're looking at things, and just
Right.
kind of looking at it from an application standard, because we've made those mistakes.
Right. And that's why your clients seek your expertise. It's one
Yeah.
thing to say, oh, that's pretty, I want that in my shower, but you
Yeah.
need an expert to know and
We're like,
explain,
maybe
will it
not
work,
in a
won't it work?
chevron. It's a little small.
That's great. Well, I enjoyed talking with you. I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to share with us.
Well, we're really excited because we were recently been brought in on the Cambria family. We are their preferred dealer where we are.
I
Um,
did see your webpage for that.
yeah. Well, we are the top seller for Cosentino as well. Love them both. And then just really having a great time selling lots of kitchen and bath. I mean, it's been awesome with all this natural stone, and look forward to seeing all the new things, that are coming down the pipeline, the colors, love how everything is. I love how kitchens with stone are being taken to the next level. And we've just really enjoyed where we are. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to be able to bring it all together for our clients.
That's great. Have you noticed any trends when it comes to stone, what your clients are wanting for their kitchen and baths?
Lots white and black, crazy, right? I thought that went out in the 80s, but
Right.
it's back here with a vengeance. And so one's like, I'll have white and black, and you're going, are we doing a
Okay.
dolomite? Or are we doing, like, I have not seen dolomite come back so big. And then like, everybody does their Carrera and Calcutta, but it's like, okay, can we please take a break from Carrera and Calcutta? I mean, it's like this, the tried and true, but let's
Right.
take a break. Let's look at stuff. Green. I don't know if you're seeing, but I'm seeing a lot where we are, just because of our light and where we are. Lot
Right.
green is like Atlas, that awesome kind of copper.
Hmm.
That's
Yes.
stunning.
I've noticed the greens and the blues. Like
Yes. And
coming
then
back.
like making sure like where they have the big vein, they want the more veining, whereas before everybody was very bland. Like it was,
Right.
all right, I've just seen another statuario again. You're like, now it's like drama mama, which is awesome. I'm glad we're seeing
I
drama.
was going to say that must be exciting and fun for you.
Well, it's kind of like, when you walk into a 90s house and you see the gray kitchen with the white top, you walk, you go, okay, that's 90s. And then you walk into like 2000s and it was like kind of like white kitchens with white tops. It was so bland. And now I think because of like, hate to say this, like the Bridgerton over the top Euro look, that's
Yeah.
happening. And then, the decked in with the uber modern, it's just darker colors, which I think is fabulous.
No, I think it's great too. Even for us as a magazine featuring projects, but the kitchen's always the gray or white or
And I love the fact that people are running it up the backsplash. You know what I mean? Like beforehand, people would be like, no tile. And we're going like full height ceilings on this. And it's beautiful. I'm like, why would you pay to have someone tile when you can just put this massive piece of stone and make it look amazing? It's taking it to the limits, which I think is really, really cool.
yeah, I think that's great. People are getting a little more bold and adventurous in their design.
Exactly.
So that is great. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Well,
And
thank
I
you
wish
so
you
much
luck
for
with
your time.
everything. And hopefully we can come back and you can share some more stories soon.
Yeah, show you some really cool, fun things that we've done and things we've messed up on.
You know what? It is like a live you learn, like issues and solutions type of thing. I would love to do like a case study and we can do something like that.
Yeah, that would be, I always tell people, if you don't fail at least once or twice a week, you haven't done a good job.
It's true. How do you learn?
Well, thank you again for your time today.
You too, Colleen, and we will talk again soon.
Right. Bye.
Bye. That was perfect. I'm just gonna send this.